about 8:30. I'm trying to find a place where I can lay my head. Now, mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? You know he grinned, he shook my hand, and no was all that he said. Take a load off Fanny, take a load for free. Take a load off Fanny.
Hello everybody, welcome to Talk to Talalla, the show where I get to tell people stories and people get to tell their stories, and basically a human laboratory of stories. And today with me is a very, very amazing young lady, Madiha Fuad, who is extremely educated, been all around the world. Her father traveled, has been to Japan, has been to the UK, University at Malaya, a lecturer and an entrepreneur, and basically she is, I think, what is the basis of a caring society, and she's developed this amazing app as well, which we'll talk about. Welcome, Maddy.
Hello.
Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's just an honor to have you, actually, and we were going to talk about yourself growing up, right, as a young girl, because you traveled everywhere, and you earlier you spoke to me. You said that that when you were young you had a learning difficulty and a bit of a problem. You know, this is inspiring, I think. And could you just tell us about that?
Okay, well, started off, I think everyone finds it difficult in an education system where there's only one way. So for example, your teacher would teach you, this is the way that you have to do it, but it might not fit for everyone. So like I was saying earlier, that there's a very famous quote whereby if you ask a fish to climb a tree, it will always think that it's stupid because you're asking them to do something that there are so many other ways of doing it. So for me, I learn a bit differently, so I couldn't follow the exact way that was given to me, of which it put a lot of pressure on me as I was younger. I mean, being a child, seeing everyone getting A's, being able to achieve things, and I'd feel like, how come I can't do that? So I was always questioning myself, why can't I be like that person? Why can't I do this? And I think a lot of people feel this way, because we have a certain mindset, a perspective that that's perfect. That's how it's supposed to be. But actually, there are so many ways that you can be perfect or you can do different things. I realized that quite late, at the age of 16 years old. That time I was in Japan. So that's when I really tried to study and focus things on my own way. So instead of following the actual education system, I would do things my own way. I would do the answers my own way, and that slowly built me as a person. After that, we moved to France. I did my IB there.
And by the way, you speak French as well. That's awesome.
Oui, je peux parler en français.
Enchanté.
But again, it was the education system that really pushed you to think outside the box, to be a critical thinker. And it was about learning your own way. When I came back to Malaysia, I went to UiTM Shah Alam, did my bachelor there, learned Malay, of course.
Which is awesome. You got the accent, I don't. I'm so jealous.
I got the UiTM accent, so belajar memang masuk UiTM untuk nak belajar bahasa Melayu.
Itulah.
And then after that, I felt, okay, the education here is different.
Yeah. It's more old school, isn't it?
It's more on, this is the right way, you have to do it this way. I think that's what triggered me into want to focus into education. So I built myself. I did my MBA in finance, and then I did my PhD focusing on retraining skills for the graduates for the IR 4.0. So education was always my main focus.
Yep, right from the beginning, because you had a disability.
Exactly.
Or you thought you had.
Exactly, but it was more of, it was the education system that made me feel like I wasn't perfect.
And that's for people out there, that if you feel that you're not as smart as everybody else, you might be smarter. It's just that you're tackling it in the wrong way because you're forced to do it by a system that is flawed.
Right. So I guess if I was to give an advice to anyone, it's just that you're in school, you're in university, you're doing anything, it's do it your own way. even though this is the right way, there are so many different paths or journeys you can take to achieve that one goal, to get that A, to get that that achievement in public speaking. You can do anything, but just do it your own way.
That is absolutely awesome. And I mean, earlier we were talking, and you did your PhD based on education and learning.
That's a interesting phase in my life, chapter, of which during my last semester of my PhD, I was diagnosed with a nerve damage, of which it caused a wing scapula. That is when I was at my lowest point in my life. Everyone goes through that certain phase, but it's a matter of what you do, what you choose, right? So you're faced with this one challenge. Which door do you take? I could have gone through the easy route of going through the door that was, okay, I'm in pain, I always have to take painkillers, I have to take nerve medication, I have to go to physio, I'm just going to have a negative mindset. I could go in that door. That's the easiest door to go in. But I chose to go through a different door. I mean, there are so many doors. I chose to choose the one that was more focused on positivity.
Exactly.
Okay? I'm faced with this. What am I going to do about it? Okay, I have to still take painkiller medication. Okay, I have to still work. I still have to get through life. That is life. So it's what you choose to do and how you overcome that situation that will determine your whole mindset. So mindset is everything.
Exactly. You know, and you know, for the you that are more cool out there, you know, it's the vibe, positive vibe.
Exactly.
Right? Which leads us to PlusVibes, which Maddy, she developed this application. I've downloaded it. You can also download it. I think it's pretty cool, and you can give feedback on it. And I think it just helps people, right? And so how did you come up with this?
Okay. So, like I said, I went through my own struggles during that time. Depression, anxiety, I was in constant pain. And I was thinking, okay, how do I even get help if I can't even go out of the house? Who do I talk to?
Yeah, lockdown time.
Yeah, I can't. How am I supposed to get the right advice, help, support, motivation? So in an era where everything is accessible through internet now, you can Google for everything. But what I did was I had to Google and YouTube, how do I find support, motivation? How do I have a positive mindset? How do I do this?
Yeah, well, I have a question. You know, how do I find a helpline number?
Exactly.
You know, it's not advertised. You know, I'd have to actually look for it, right?
So you have to Google everything, and that takes a lot of effort, especially when you're going through a certain phase or a difficulty.
Having a meltdown, you know, stuck at home.
Yeah, and we all have those phases where we break down. Even it's normal.
The strongest people break down.
Exactly,
you know?
but people feel afraid to tell people, oh, I'm having a breakdown, I'm going through this difficulty. They're afraid to reach out for help. So that's why we wanted to create an application that was anonymous. You can download it for free on the App Store and the Google Play Store. It's focused on support and motivation. So there's articles, videos, there's someone for you to talk to, counselors, volunteered listeners. And the feature that people love the most is the relaxation activities. So there's breathing exercises, there's anxiety relief techniques, there's yoga, there's Zumba. We're going to add on jokes soon. So things that can distract your mind from thinking into all your problems, but you just shift it and be like, it's okay.
Well, maybe Zuckerberg should watch out. I think you're creating a social platform here. It'll be a Malaysian first. You know? If I was the government, I'd get right behind you and fund it. You know? Yep.
Well, we're hoping that the government would support us because our main goal is to help the society. I mean, it's a free app.
Exactly.
It's a free app that we want to push it so that people have a platform to reach out for help.
Exactly. And you know, during lockdown, I seriously looked at some numbers, and the suicide rate gone up. You know, and it's a lot to do with our culture as Asians, right? Where I mean, shame. Family, you know, especially if you're a breadwinner, you've lost your job, you know, and I mean, losing your job is on the scale of anxiety and frustration is probably number one. You know, losing a spouse and moving. You know, so you in lockdown, you're basically, you know, in a very dark place.
It's also because once you have a certain commitment level and you lose your job, how do you maintain that? It will affect everything in your life, your relationships, your children, it will affect everything. But the point is whether you have a strong support system, of which most people are afraid to tell people that they're having a problem.
Exactly.
They're afraid of worry. They don't want people to be to feel like, oh no, this is unstable. So it will create even more chaos.
Exactly.
So they keep it to themselves, and that's why the suicidal rate all increase.
You got it on the head, and I really think, to you guys listening out there, it's really worth a look, and you can send your feedback to improve in any section. Jokes are coming back, and it's going to develop, but it needs support to develop. And we want to be a caring society, right, Maddy?
Yes.
And it's the younger generation. As I said earlier to Maddy, I said, I used to fear death, but I don't anymore, because I know why we have to die. It's to get rid of all the old ideas and stuff. It's a young people's world, right? It's a young people's world, and it should be shaped in their way, right? You shouldn't have something, don't you think there should be an age limit to politicians? You can't have an 80-year-old politician. The ideas, they wouldn't gel, would they?
Actually, I seem to think that there's a lot of value in older people because of the experience and wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Well, that goes without saying.
So I think it should match between the younger generation with all their innovative and creative and all these weird ideas with, oh, by the way, this is what the past, that's why we learn history, right? To learn from experience.
I think that is just awesome, and that's why you have a PhD and I don't. because I would not have thought of that, yeah, you're absolutely right, and life, is all about balance, isn't it? So if you're feeling depressed, the scales are tipped, right? So how do you get back on an even keel, right? And it's through talking to people, venting out your frustrations. And if you're too shy to do that, you got PlusVibe.
Exactly, it's anonymous. So I think one of my favorite feedback that I read was that someone was like, oh, I never knew that talking to a stranger about my problems would make me feel this good.
Yep.
They never knew. It never came across their mind to just tell someone about their problems, because at first they're like, so what do I actually have to do? I just have to talk?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah.
The person's there to listen, and they don't make any judgments. They're not going to offer you any advice. The only advice, if you were suicidal, they'd say, why are you taking a permanent solution to a temporary problem?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. So you got this PlusVibe going, and so the future, inside that great big universe of a mind of yours, there must be so many ideas floating out there.
So next month we will be focusing on, so PlusVibes is an app for itself, a support and motivation app, right? But in order to build a society that's mentally resilient, what we're doing is a program. So we're doing a PlusVibes Foundation program, of which we teach how to build a positive mindset, how to empower your thoughts, how to build confidence, all these things that will develop the younger generation to have a stronger mindset, to have mental resilience. And we get lecturers, we get coaches, we get life coaches, all to meet up with these youngsters and to share their knowledge and to give them these activities that will boost their confidence. We're starting off with orphanage, Rumah Akhlak, and these kind of things, and then inshallah we plan to move on to schools, universities, because I feel like that's something that needs to be touched. We don't have a mental health care program or class. Nobody teaches you how to handle anxiety or how to handle anger.
Exactly, and the younger generation, today, we spoke about this as well. They don't grow up like we did, outside playing in the mud. They're in apartments, and then people keep chopping down trees, and we need a park or where kids can let out their anger, and
creativity, socialize, soft skills.
Do we need more condos? As we grow, I think we need more parks and jogging tracks,
I definitely
and we need to build within the ecosystem, right? I think that's great. So PlusVibes going up, you're going to develop it. Anything else? Any secrets?
Not much. That's our main focus for next year. We really hope that we can get a lot of support in terms of counselors, because right now we have volunteered listeners, right? But we want to onboard a crisis management team, of which one that is 24-hour, because the chat requests that we get mostly are in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's when people feel the most
That's
desperate.
when people feel the most desperate, and they
Can't
don't
sleep.
Yeah, can't sleep. Anxiety kicks in, and you really want to help those kind of people. So that's it. That's our main focus.
Well, I'm sure that there's got to be some people out there that are watching that might not, might have some spare time and have capability to join in, and we'll put it up at the end of the show how to contact Maddy through her Insta and Facebook and email and whatever's there. And if you want to join the fight, they got Playing for Change, and I think Maddy's got Fighting for a Caring Society. That's really great. But one thing I didn't ask you, your personal life, are you married?
Oh, no, I'm single.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, we see, I had Shamila, also an entrepreneur. I had Mariam, also an entrepreneur. And now I've got you, right? 3 young, absolutely lovely ladies, all educated, tremendous personality. Is there something with women that think for themselves, they never get married? Because I'm really worried because my daughter, she's like you guys. So I'm never going to have kids.
No, I think there's never an age limit for something. I mean, for me, and maybe for Mariam, and maybe for Shamila, is maybe focusing on your dreams first. Yes. Focusing on what you want to do.
And that's exactly what all of them said.
Exactly. It's like, what makes you feel happy? Yeah. Achieving something, focusing on dreams, building something, reading feedback from other people that you actually help them.
Exactly.
That's what makes me happy.
And the older you get, the more calm you become.
Right.
And you're more financially secure,
yeah.
And the kids come into I think a better environment if you do it later.
Yeah. So that's.
Well, Maddy, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else you'd like to? Because the floor is yours.
Check out www.plusvibes.com and let us know if you have any collaborations for educational institutions, corporates. If you have any new ideas for features, we're all open ears. We plan to really develop the app in order to make it really user-friendly and something that people really want and need.
That's fantastic. Maddy, I'd like to interview you again. And maybe if my friend Dr. Milon comes on board, the two of you, maybe I'll just step away from the camera and let the two of you talk about mental health. You guys take care out there. Watch out for our next guest. It's going to be a big surprise. Keep smiling, stay safe, and if you're feeling bad, get on PlusVibes, talk to somebody. Bye for now.